So there are tons of homages out there to brands like Rolex and of course Omega. However, Zenith is not a brand that we see homaged very often. Today, I actually have a Zenith homage. It's a chronograph. It's an homage of a vintage El Primero. Really cool watch actually. It's in green. It comes with a strap and a bracelet. Very excited to show it to you guys. Let's flip the camera and take a look at a Zenith homage. So I think it is a good question. Why aren't there more El Primero homages? This is a very good looking watch. Obviously it's inspired by vintage El Primero. You do get a hand wound chronograph movement. It's very affordable. This one has the canvas strap on it. However, you can get a bracelet. The bracelet option, or the option for the bracelet is right here. I'll show it to you on the bracelet a little bit later on. However, this is a green dial variant. It's inspired by the Safari edition of the 384, the A384 from Zenith. It's an El Primero, or was an El Primero. They made a revival of this watch, and I believe they charge somewhere in the neighborhood of around $7,000 or $8,000 or $10,000, something like that for that watch. So it's a very expensive watch. Obviously, it's powered by an El Primero. This is powered by a Seagull movement. It is a hand-wound Seagull movement. This is a movement that was sort of copied from Venus. Venus went on to become part of Valjoux. This does have a column wheel and a vertical clutch. It's really not a bad movement to look at. I prefer these to obviously a quartz chronograph and even a mecha quartz chronograph. These are very affordable and you get to interact with your watch. It's kind of the point of watch collecting, a mechanical movement. You get to see it from the back. It's a little bit of something to look at when you want to take your watch off. I do that very often, so it's pretty cool. And of course, the dimensions on here are very faithful to the original watch that it is homaging. So it's about 36 millimeters. It's almost 37 millimeters at the edges of the case itself. So it's like 36.8, but if you measure it from here, it's a little bit smaller, but that's really what it is. 37 millimeters is what I would say it wears like. And then the lug to lug is a 47 millimeter lug to lug, basically, so 47.1. On the thicker side, 13.5, but really, as a chronograph, really not that thick. Obviously, it's not automatic, it's hand wound, so it's a little bit thinner. Plus, you get a very big boxed sapphire crystal. It's domed and boxed, so that does add to the thickness. And then you do get a screwed in case back, just has the specs for the watch on the back, which brands love to do. This is a really nice canvas strap. I really like this strap. Obviously you get quick release, not exactly the same strap that you get from the original, but it strays off a little bit here. The dial though is very close to the original Zenith. You have applied indices. Those are filled with a creamy lume. The hands very similar to the original. You even have that little sort of rectangular pip on the seconds hand, very similar to the original. The sub registers are in black. There's a texture to those. Again, very similar to the original. And the chronograph action is pretty smooth flyback action here, and it also lines up very nicely. Just a good looking watch. Now, price on these are pretty good. They're really good actually. Right now they are running a special. If you put the word chrono in at checkout, they're giving you $20 off of this watch. So it's, I think, $239 regularly, so it's $219. But if you want both the bracelet and the strap, it's $279, and then you get $20 off, so $259. If you like a bracelet, this is not a bad bracelet, especially considering that it's only a couple of dollars more. Obviously, you get sort of a generic micro brand buckle on here. I'll do close-ups of the bracelet. You do get screwed links, solid end links, so you know, your typical micro brand bracelet that's actually very nice. So very quickly, I'm going to throw this watch on my wrist, and then we will do a lume shot, because this does get lume, and the lume is actually pretty decent, because Sugess and Seastern, they like to put a lot of lume on their watches, and there is no difference here. I'm going to get that chronograph running again just so you can see it. So very quickly, today I have a chronograph on. It is a vintage chronograph. It is a Bulova Chronograph D. This is a watch that I bought a long time ago, and it has stayed in my collection. Now, I actually paid a pretty good price for this watch, but still, even considering the price that I paid for this, this is still less than half of what I paid for this watch. So obviously pretty cool. But you can see, you know, the vintage sizing, the style here, really nice. I think they did a great job on this. I was very impressed when this was sent, and I was very excited to show it to you guys because, like I said, you don't see a lot of homages to Zenith, and of course not vintage Zeniths. Now, they did do a revival of these. They're actually called the El Primero revival. It's a revival of the A384, but that was a modern revival from Zenith, and like I said, those are pretty expensive, just under $10,000. But here you go, for $219 you can get one of these, and it does look a lot like that original Zenith. It looks, I think, a little bit more like the vintage version than it does the revival version, but that's just my eye maybe. But you even get a nice solid buckle on here. It has brushing and polishing, and it is signed. Excellent. Really a nice strap, really a beautiful watch. Anyway, quickly, a loom shot. So for a chronograph, really not bad, I have to say. Pretty much everything is loomed. Even the sub dials are loomed. Obviously the second hand is loomed. You have that little pip, hour, minutes, and all of the indices except for obviously the 9 and 3 where there are sub registers, and actually the 6 o'clock as well where the sub registers are. There are no indices, but everything else is loomed. Pretty liberally applied with loom, I would say, especially for a little chronograph like this, 37 millimeters. Just really nice, and it's really not that thick. Like I said, it's 13.5 millimeters thick, but without that box sapphire crystal, I would say it's probably in the neighborhood of around 13 millimeters thick, maybe a little bit less than that, which for a chronograph is excellent. And that's because you do have a hand wound movement in here from Seagull, and it is a Swanneck version of it, so pretty nice. Anyway, tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of this watch? What do you think of homages in general? What do you think about homages to Zenith? Please also don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel, and I very much appreciate it. Please follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is WatchChrisBlog, all one word. I have some links in the description. Those links are to Amazon. If you click those links and buy anything, it helps support the channel. It doesn't cost you anything extra. However, I very much appreciate it. Anyway, thank you for logging on. I'll catch you guys in the next video.